Welcome to Biotech Stage. It's a stage where we meet with different biotech professionals from the globe to discuss something very important, something exciting, and something very hot in the biotechnology field. Today's topic is also very important, and it is about the procuring the raw materials for biologics manufacturing. And it gets even more exciting and more important when we consider that a lot of chemicals, a lot of raw materials are obtained within India, but a lot of chemicals come from Europe and America. And to discuss how complicated it is, we have in our studio today Dr. Dhawal Shah, who has been working in the procurement business for last 10 to 15 years in various responsibilities. Currently, he is working as a deputy general manager at a leading biotech company in India. So, welcome, Dr. Dhawal Shah, on this stage.
Thank you, Mr. Arun. It's nice to have here.
So we have interacted for last 10 15 years, and industry have changed a lot in past 15 years or so. So if you could please tell us or tell our listeners how the industry has evolved when it comes to procuring the different raw materials. I'm sure people understand it is not as simple as making a phone call. Okay, give me X amount of chemical A or chemical B. It is much more complicated, especially when you are using those chemicals for large scale biomanufacturing. So if you could please share some of your experience in past several years.
Yeah, so basically, biotech industry has been rapidly transferring, and it will continue to transform at the same speed. Now, procuring raw material in biotech industry, it's very crucial because there are few suppliers available. You have to deal with them with a specific strategy, specific procurement tools, and you have to ensure that your supply should be without interruption, and the uninterrupted flow of material should be continued. So you have a specific strategy to build in, like you have to use some tools like porter forces, like CPFR. So if I will give you some detail in depth, so like earlier what we used to do before the COVID scenario, most of the organizations have a single source and they used to rely on that single source is available with them. But after COVID, we have learned so many things, and then the organization came to know that if we do not have a multiple sources, then our business is on toss.
Mhm.
So basically, for any biotech industries where there is a large scale manufacturing exists, you should have a multiple sources of your all key raw materials. Not only multiple sources, but you have to approve multiple sites of the
Mhm.
same vendor,
Mhm.
because if any unforeseen changes takes place and you have approval of any single site, probably you will be on toss. But nowadays people realized, and it is imperative on procurement professionals, that they should come or they should define some strategy so
Mhm.
production will be uninterrupted. So basically, the lesson what we have learned from the COVID-19 scenario, that we have to improve our suppliers basket. We do not rely on single sources, but we have to develop at least two, three sources. We also have to work on Make in India philosophy, because over a period of time, it's a global exports and production from India, but sources from the local market.
Okay.
Because then you have a consistent supply security.
This is very important, and especially as you mentioned, it has changed from the COVID times that companies needs to focus on the multiple sources so that there is an uninterrupted supply of the raw materials. So, Dr. Dhawal, can you say something about so many chemicals are bought from US and from Europe? Are there significant differences the way the things are bought from outside India or within India? Is it easier? Is it more complicated? I mean, what are the differences?
So basically, you have to understand the volume game. If you have a small volumes, then you should go with the distributor of the global manufacturers,
Mhm.
because it would be more easier. It would
Mhm.
be less costly, and the lead time would be lesser because the distributor of global manufacturer will ensure that your stocks will be carried by them, and whenever there is a requirement in small quantity, they will arrange and they will deliver to your doorstep. But
Okay.
if you have a large scale of procurement, like if you need thousands liters of media, thousands and thousands liters of feed, then it is always important that you should directly speak to your manufacturer, give them forecast, give them clear visibility, and based on the volume, you should negotiate the better prices, and that should be more competitive in a long run.
Mhm. Okay. And so that's a very important message for all the suppliers of the different media and feeds and all other raw materials, that if they are trying to sell in a large quantity, especially if they are located in US and America, and if they are trying to sell in the large quantity, as you mentioned, they need to be directly involved rather than relying on the distributors. Because as you
True.
mentioned, it is better when you are dealing directly with them for large scale. Thank you. The other thing which I wanted to find out, are there any other things that industry may need to watch out for at this time? Any raw material potential issues in terms of availability, in terms of uninterrupted supply?
Yes. So basically, when you are procuring raw materials, you have to define those raw materials into Peter-Kajic metrics, like what are my bottlenecks, what are my strategic material, what are
Hmm.
my routine materials, and what are my leverage materials. So based on that, priorities, and based on the criticality, you have to deal with those suppliers. Like if I will say, if someone is my bottleneck raw material, then I have to ensure that there should be enough safety stocks always available at my warehouse,
Hmm.
so there would not be any shortages. If it is a strategic kind of materials where only one source is available, like media or feed, you have to enter with the long term supply agreement that gives assurance from the manufacturer side that whenever you need a material, the material will be supplied because you have a binding kind of agreement with them. And wherever there is a strategic kind of procurement, you should ensure that there should not be a transactional business. It should be a long term commitment between both the organization, and that's how they will create the win win situation. That is very important that for all kind of strategic material, you should have a long term agreement with the key suppliers or key manufacturers, and that's how you will safeguard your supplies, and
Yeah.
that will be
Okay.
a uninterrupted raw material. For the routine or leverage items, like if I can understand the routine items which is already available in domestic sources, so there you don't have to worry much. And for the leverage item, there are so many suppliers across the globe, and it's not a critical one. So either you buy from A or either you buy from B or C. That will not impact because it's non-critical materials. So this is the strategy that you have to adopt, and I'm sure that with this strategy, you will be benefited in a
Yeah.
long run.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it is important to understand that there are so many chemicals being used for any large scale manufacturing. We are not talking about 10 to 15 chemicals, maybe 50 plus, or not just chemicals, raw materials, whether it is for purification of manufacturing and to identify which one is critical. It's not an easy task. So it's quite burdensome. So as you mentioned, supply agreement is important because it assures you that you will have the supply, and it also tells the supplier that X amount of quantity would be needed by company A or company B or C. So they would be having manufacturing of that particular raw material. So it helps the both parties. So that's very important. So, Dr. Dhawal, after this, so many things are being affected by artificial intelligence. That's what I wanted to discuss with you. Do you think artificial intelligence would be having some role in the procurement business? And if it is, what type of things will be affected by AI and how it will be more useful?
So, artificial intelligence and machine learning will be the key enablers in biotech industry and as well as procurement. It will increase the procurement efficiency in a drastic way. It will eliminate your manual task. If I will give the strategic benefit of the AI and machine learning, then in the procurement part, you have a spend analytics, you have a cost optimization with the AI and machine learning tools, then you have predictive forecasting. With the AI help, you will have the predictive forecasting. Then it will automate your procurement process. Like earlier, we have a SAP, we have a ERP, but then we have to do the RFQ manually, like whatever my requirement. But if you have a AI and machine learning, that will be integrated with software, and RFQ will be floated directly to that key suppliers, and then again. Everything will be automated, like manufacturer or vendor has to code in that system, and competitive statement will be generated automatically, and at the end of the day finally PO will be created automatically. So this will
Okay.
save your resources, this will save your energy, this will improve your product procurement efficiency in a drastic way.
Okay.
And
So,
other tools is like auction, which is very, very important in today's world. People are using reverse auction to optimize their cost for the large volumes of procurement.
okay.
And this AI and machine learning, these will become a very, very important in procurement world. And I see from here that over the next 10 years, the digitalization and digital transformation will play a key role in procurement and supply chain industry.
Okay. So is it getting started, or things are still on the testing stage?
So many organizations have started to work on this AI and machine learning platform. But if we consider the percentage of 100%, it still touches only 10 to 15%.
Okay.
So still
Okay.
we have to work on 85%. So once this entire 100% will be covered, India will become the digital hub for the procurement. And the journey
Mhm.
you started, you know that so many GCC centers are now coming to India, and these will become increasing in a day and day out.
Okay. So, Dr. Dhawal, I wanted to mention that this podcast is actually geared towards audience that is younger generation, the people who are getting into this field, people who have bachelor's degree, master's degree, or PhD degree, and getting into the biotech business. So, for them, I think it's a very important message that if they want to get a job in biotech industry, I think they need to focus on AI. They need to learn something new, because then they can tell the potential employer that, look, they are working on AI, they have experience on AI, or how their experience could be used by using their AI knowledge for procurement. So this is an important message for them.
Certainly.
And so, next thing, since we are talking about the younger generation, I wanted to ask you, since you have worked for so long in this procurement business in the biotech industry, what advice do you give to the younger generation? What they need to focus on, how they can get the job, because that's one of the things that India is currently facing. There are a lot of people, and they are trying to get or compete for the same position. So, how they can differentiate themselves? What message do you want to give to them?
That's a very interesting question, and definitely I will give some interesting tips for the younger generation, and that I'm sure that it will be benefited to them to get a good job in the biotech industry, particularly in procurement department. So they have to follow some important steps, like they have to think building about business acumen. So they don't have to just do PR to PO work or the conversion of purchase requisition to purchase order, but they have to
Hmm.
think beyond that.
Hmm.
Why I'm doing this? They have to
Hmm.
think bigger picture of the same.
Hmm.
What is the impact? How I will link with my organization goal? Whether I
Hmm.
am expecting by doing this. So that is the one thing. Second thing, you have to develop the digital mindset. Then they have to think about keep continue learning.
Hmm.
It's the days are over. Like earlier, we used to have a bachelor degree and master degrees, and then we will switch over to job, and then we will continue with our job activity. But now the days are over. We have to update ourselves with the latest
Hmm.
market trends, latest technology trends. You have to be curious about new learning, and you have to update yourself. Like what I had done recently, I have done my APSM, that is Association Profession in Supply Management from the Institute of Supply Management USA. And then
Hmm.
I also completed my CPSM, that is Certified Professional in Supply Management from the Institute of Supply Management. So those are the international certification which will help you and which will test your knowledge and test your ability, and that will create you ready for the job in the procurement area. So these are the few tips that I need to give to my young generation, and definitely by adopting those steps and skills, I'm sure they will have a smooth journey during their interview process.
These are the very good tips you mentioned. Think beyond just your regular job duties. I mean, as you mentioned, not just think that you got the purchase requisition, you convert it into purchase order. That is not enough. So think beyond that and they have a digital mindset. Continuous learning, whatever you have learned, that is good, but that's not enough. You need to learn something more than that, and you need to be curious on learning new things. And you gave your examples, different other certifications. So, Dr. Dawal, can those certifications be obtained while, I mean, can they be obtained only when they are working for a company, or can they do it while they are looking for a job?
So basically, few certifications you just need to submit your bachelor's degree, and you will start the certification process. However, those are like advanced certifications. You have to show the 3 years of work experience. But there are
Okay.
many entry level certificates are available, which help them to at least start the first step, and then always they have a chance to do the advanced stage at a later stage.
Okay. So those for those certifications, they can take certain courses online, like through LinkedIn or some other places, and
Absolutely.
complete their certification.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's all our short term courses, and it will be completed within a 6 months of time, or sometimes it is less than the 6 months. But those certificate will help them to get their job very easily, very quickly. So it is
Okay.
always important.
So, Dr. Dhawal, the one other thing which I wanted to ask you is that we always think, sometime think back and sometime realize, okay, if I had known this before, I would have done this thing in a different way. If so, can you share something that you wish you had known long time ago?
Yes. So if I could go back to my younger stage, then probably uh, I should ask to myself that don't focus only on the execution part, but focus on why we are doing this. What is the logic? What is the reason why we are doing this? So if I will give you an example, initially when I have joined, I am more concentrated on my deadlines, and I used to
Mhm.
create PR to PO conversion and then delivery follow-ups and everything. That is always important, but you have to think beyond that. You have to think that how the product will be available faster to the market. How, if you do something, if you do some alternative vendor development during the procurement, how it will impact to your organization footprint. Like if I will give you an example, I use A material, and my procurement cost is $100. If I will introduce B with the same quality, with the same specification, and with the better visibility, and it cost 80 rupees, my procurement cost will drastically reduce by 20%. And for earning that 20% from the market, probably I have to sell $200 million, and then I will be recovered 10% or 20% profit from that. But by doing negotiation or by doing alternative vendor development, you are directly contributing by reducing the procurement cost by 20%.
Mhm.
That's the impact that procurement people is making, and this will create a direct impact on P&L, because
Mhm.
your procurement cost, your manufacturing cost will reduce drastically. And in this competitive market, if you want to increase your footprint, then your price should be much competitive.
So cost of the raw material is an important factor, and people need to focus on that. And actually, that was my another question. What is your opinion on the cost of raw materials? Do you think in longer term that will bring down the cost of the final product or the overall efficiency?
Yes. So basically, like if we take an example of media feed, which will drastically impact on your manufacturing and procurement cost as well as your final cost. So like if you able to reduce your media cost by 10%, your overall cost of manufacturing will be reduced drastically.
Yeah.
Or somehow with the technical collaboration, if you develop an alternative which will give you more yield, and that's how your DS will be increased. Finally, it will be lead to increase your drug product. So, like whatever the vials or whatever the PFS I used to produce earlier with the X media and feed, now with the same concentration of X and Y of another company, and I will have a better DS, I will have a better DP, and finally my batch size will be increased. My
Mhm.
volume will be increased. So the same scale of bioreactor, by using different media and feeds, I will have a better yield, better production, and like a PFS and vial production. So at the end of the day, my profit will be going to convert in a better way. These are the tools where industry can focus. Definitely, it would be helpful for them. What I can learn from my experience.
Okay. So raw material cost is important, but same time there are so many other tools that will increase the process efficiency to cut down the overall cost of the raw material or the cost of the product. Okay. So, Dr. Dhaval, with this, we are coming towards the end of our conversation. And when it is towards the end, I want to do two activities. One is if you could please share something surprising that you learned in your career, or any fun moment, or anything you think that exists in biotech that most of the people in general public are not aware of the biotechnology. I mean, if you could share any of those things, and then I will also do a rapid fire questions in which I will ask you 10 different questions. So, if you could please first share something surprising, something funny.
Yeah, definitely. So my initial career stage, when I was not fully aware about all biotech process. So basically, I used to concentrate more on my like logistics, inbound materials, but I never focused that how perishable goods will be stored and how it should be like transported to warehouse. So
Mhm.
sometimes like if you are so aggressive, if you are so excited, and you are in hurry mood, you have done something, but at the end of the day, when material reached at your premises, it gives you a surprise that okay, you have to ship that material in 2 to 8, and what you have done, you have arranged in ambient temperature. So
Yeah.
that's the surprising moment I had at that time. But then gradually I came to know that okay, how criticality the biotech raw material and biotech accessories. So accordingly, I have learned, and then gradually I have taken up all these things, and then after that, there is no single incidents where I have done this kind of hurriness, and like rest is assured.
Yeah, so that's very exciting to know. And I mean, for biotechnology products, certainly getting them fast is important, but getting at the right temperature, right shipment conditions, and not just like a part of the way from origin to the destination. Needs to be either in cold condition or frozen state, depending upon whichever the chemical. So with this. Now we are coming to the rapid fire question section. So I'm going to ask you 10 different questions, and you need to, and 10 being the best or almost there or strongly agree depending upon the type of the question. And if you could just give your rating, and we intend to finish this in less than 60 seconds. So I'll start now. So the first question, quality of biotech drug products in India.
Six, seven,
Okay.
seven,
7. Okay. The production capacity available in India.
six,
Okay. Innovation in India.
five,
Okay. IP production in India.
five,
Okay. Availability of talented workforce.
eight,
Okay. Productive interaction among peers.
seven,
Okay. and money available to support new projects,
6,
cost efficiency with an aim to reduce the cost of drugs.
6,
Okay. Clear and unambiguous guidelines for regulatory process.
5,
Okay. And finally, make in India efforts.
6.
Okay, thank you very much. So with this, now we are ending our conversation. So thank you, Dr. Dhawal, for giving so much of feedback on procurement business. I think the main thing that you mentioned, especially for the younger generation, and overall procurement business and how the different raw materials are obtained for the manufacturing purposes, that is going to be very important. So thanks again for coming to the show and sharing your views.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Arun.